I'm Han.
And I'm Kat, and we're Brews and Reviews.
Today we are bringing you our January wrap up. And again, as usual, I read a rubbish amount of books. And again, as usual, Kat read a heck of a lot of books.
I had a busy month for the reading, and not a busy month for everything else. But you actually had a busy month doing a lot of other things this month, like a lot of non-booktube/ reading type things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we're going to try and do this in, like, the easiest way possible, and because I just don't want to bore you guys, because I read 18 books this month, and that's a bit much. It's a bit much for a video. So we're just going to hop right into this and start telling you about the books we read. So I was in work on January 1st. Gave me the perfect opportunity to listen to Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shannon Maguire, which is the second book in the Wayward Children series, and I absolutely loved that book. It was about Jack and Jill's story. It's a prequel from Every Heart a Doorway. So following on from that, a bit later on in the month, I read Beneath the Sugar Sky, because one of my goals this year is to complete series that I started, and having read that one, I'd be completely up to date with what is out there. And actually, I really enjoyed that one as well, and I really like that we returned to some of the characters from Every Heart a Doorway, so like Cade and Christopher, and like there was a lot like more representation. I think it was my least favourite of the three so far.
Yeah.
But that is because I tend to like the darker things rather than like the Candyland type worlds.
Oh,
like,
why does that one go to the different worlds?
Yeah, like you go to like Nancy's world and for a little bit, which I really liked, but then like you end up in like a Candyland, which is, I would never go to a Candyland. That's all I can say.
Leading on from that, I actually did listen to Every Heart a Doorway in the month of January, and I actually really enjoyed it. I really, really did. I can't wait to read the next one because Jack was one of my favourite characters in it, so I can't wait to actually see their backstory. Do you know what I mean? Like, and go into their world and see what actually happened and how they became who they are. So that will be quite interesting. But I really enjoyed it, and apart from Harry Potter, that was the first book I'd actually listened to audio-wise, and it was okay. Like, I struggled at first getting into it, but I think that was because it was a story that I completely didn't know, and like the voice of the narrator was a bit, well, it was just different. I just wasn't used to it.
It's a girl's voice as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you've gone from like a male voice that you recognise to a female voice that you don't.
Yeah.
So.
But I got into it, and then I had a chat with you about it because I think I got a bit confused between a few things. You cleared that out for me, and then after that it was all, clear sailing, and now I really, really enjoyed it, so it was good. It was a nice experience as well, and like to listen to it on an audiobook, so.
Yeah. The next book that I read in January was The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchison, which is like a crime thrillery, kidnappy. Basically, this man kidnaps a bunch of women and like tattoos butterflies on them, and then like keeps them until they're 21 and then kills them. It's a strange book. I liked bits of it. I didn't like other bits of it. Not sure that people had like realistic reactions to certain things in that book, and didn't have as many breakdowns as I'm sure you would be having. But yeah. So, and plus, who can keep like all of these women like secret? Like you can't. There's a lot of women that you just don't. They're not being kept in somebody's greenhouse, all secret. No. So that's really all I've got to say about that book. Like, it was okay. It was an alright listen. I also listened to that on January 1st. The next book that I read was The 100th Queen by Emily R. King, and I did not like this book. There is like so much like rape and like selling of female characters. I was like...
Is this when you told me about that I kind of saw it as like a Taken kind of thing where they they sell off the women.
Yeah, except that's just culturally okay in this book.
Yeah.
Like, what? I was hoping to get something like, because I think it's more of like an Indian or like that sort of Asian culture, but like I don't think that's a very good representation of things. Like, it was just too much rape, there was too much like non-consensual happenings, and I was like, Like, I wish I could like that book, but like, no, not continuing with that series, no. And I finished the next Daily Deal Disaster, which you will see coming up soon, because we have filmed that one.
We have.
And that would be Finger Bang by Jade C. Jameson. Honestly, what a shit book. I'm not going into that. You can watch the Daily Deal Disaster when it comes out, like...
And suffer the pain and torment that I actually listening to it.
I mean, honestly, and the boredom.
Yeah.
And the boredom.
Yeah, to be fair, like...
It was pretty shit in comparison to the last Daily Deal Disaster, I'm going to tell you that.
Like, Chosen by the High Judge actually goes up in my estimation
I know,
compared to that. It's weird.
The next book that I have, I actually own in a physical copy. Wow, what a shocker. It is A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett. Now, I read this book because I thought, oh, it's like a classic and it's cute, and like, I used to love the film as a child, and the book was not like the film. The book was not cute like the film. The book had like her dad dies. Like, what's that about? I didn't mean to just spoil it, but like the film has been up for a very long time. This book is very old. But like, instead of like, in the book there's this really cute, in the film there's this really cute thing where her dad like gets blinded and like they mistake him for someone else, and then it turns out he's alive at the end and they like reunite, and it's so cute and it's like so emotional, and like, no, this doesn't happen in the book. It's just like, what?
In the film, is she in a care home?
She's in like a girls' school.
Yeah, and like, is she like rich but then gets treated?
Yeah.
I think I've seen that.
Isn't it a cute film?
Oh my god, I really love that film.
Yeah, the book's not anything like it.
Oh.
Sad.
Oh. Oh, devastating.
I know. I really was like, oh, I'm not for some cute like little princess feels. Didn't get them. Didn't get them at all. Everyone was pretty much an asshole.
So I have previously.
Were they words?
I have previously mentioned that I've read Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix on audiobook in the month of January, and obviously I read it for the biannual bibliothon. Well, I finished it whilst biannual bibliothon was going on, so I counted that towards one of my challenges. But that was the first book I'd ever listened to audiobook wise, and I really enjoyed it. And it was nice reading them again, even though I keep on calling it Prisoner of Azkaban.
It's okay. We'll get you help for that.
Yeah, I don't know why I call it Prisoner of Azkaban, but I do. Do you know what? Like, I can remember you saying this when you were reading it, but like, how mopey is Harry Potter?
He is angsty Potter.
Honestly, he was driving me mental up, like literally up the wall throughout it all. I was like, I can't be doing with his like, yeah.
It's exactly right though, isn't it? He's like, oh, everybody's fine except me. I'm Harry, angry Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like, calm down, Harry. Get some counselling.
I never remembered it being like that. So, like, I can remember the film and being angry in the film, but like,
films don't really count though, do they?
No.
As we were discussing the biannual bibliothon, I read 4 books during the biannual bibliothon. I read Small Hand by Susan Hill, The Epic of Gilgamesh by Anonymous, City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, and The Wicked and the Divine by Kieran Gillen. So if you want to hear what I thought about them, please head over to our biannual bibliothon wrap-up. And I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing with my hands.
Play basketball. Fiona Marble says, got a basketball game tomorrow. I haven't got a basketball game tomorrow.
Anyway, please go over to our biannual bibliothon wrap-up to see what I thought of those. I'm talking enough throughout this video, so
I also read City of Bones in the month of January. We are taking part in Emma Books' Shadowhunter read-along. So basically, throughout the year she set dates for each book to be read by, and I think it's just, obviously, it's a nice pace to read them at. It gives you plenty of time. I wanted to read all of them anyway this year, so it's perfect because it means I don't have to rush reading them and I can still fit other books in at the time. And as well, by the time they're all read, it leads up to the new book that's coming out in December, January time.
I'm excited because I haven't actually finished Mortal Instruments, and that was one of my goals. So I, like, one night when we were getting drunk, I was like, yeah, I'll read them too! I'll read them too! So I'm reading them too.
Yeah.
But it's turning out quite good though, actually. I think I'm
Well,
enjoying...
your view on Ashes has changed.
Yeah, that's for next month though, guys. I'll let you know next month, but, like, some of my opinions are changing. So, some of them aren't though. Now, perhaps my favourite read of January. I decided to reread Red Rising, and then read Golden Sun, and then move on to Morning Star. So, Piers Brown has just written these amazing books, this amazing trilogy, and I'm not gonna lie, it only got better. It's almost like I don't really know what to say about them because they are so fantastic. Like, I reread this one because I was like, I need to get back in the frame of mind for Red Rising and, like, get all the characters back in my head. And I remembered loving it last year. It was on, like, one of my top favourite books of last year. And, like, so I was like, okay, I'll reread it. But I really liked it. And then I moved on to Golden Sun, and I'm like, it's a bit unsure of the beginning because it started in a bit of a different way. I'm trying not to talk too much about it because Hannah's reading them now too.
I'm reading Red Rising currently.
There's a whole spoiler thing, and I'm trying not to go there with that, but let me just tell you about the ending of this book. Dear God, I was shook. I'm, like, sat there at work and I'm listening to the ending and I'm like, traumatized by the ending of this book. I elbowed the bookshelves and it was quite sore. But that is the level of traumatization that I had around this book. So then obviously I moved on to Morning Star, and the ending to this series is like the ending to the Lunar Chronicles for me. Like, that sort of perfect end that got everything that it deserved, and, like, it was just not disappointing. Yeah, like, these two are my favourite books in the series. I'm not sure which is my favourite, like, but they're freaking great. And, like, if you had asked me last year, I wouldn't have said that one of them could top Red Rising, but they both do. And Red Rising's amazing, so please, please read Red Rising. Please read this series. It's great. It's sci-fi, dystopia, and a whole lot of space battles.
I'm really enjoying where I'm up to at the moment and getting really into it.
Yeah.
So. The last book I read is a tiny one. It's just Devon Goodfellas by Rick Riordan. I did this for the Bibliothon because it had to be, the challenge was to read a book under 200 pages. This fit that. It's perfect because I just obviously finished the Heroes of Olympus last year, so it was nice to go back to that world, even if it is like from kind of the first ones. It was so nice, and I loved the little stories in it as well.
So then I moved on to read a bit of fantasy, because I thought I've not read fantasy this year yet, so I thought I would finish off the trilogy called The Broken Empire by Mark Lawrence. So I'd previously only read Prince of Thorns, and this time I read King of Thorns and Emperor of Thorns. And, like, this series, Jorg Ankrath, the main character, is just a dickhead. Like dickhead main characters come around and they do dickhead things, right? But this guy, he, like, takes the cake, pisses all over it, then serves it to your auntie for dinner. Like, honestly. Wow. He is such a dick. And there's like necromancy and Vikings and, like, flame monsters and just dead people everywhere. It's so good. Oh. It kind of puts you in a weird mood though, because obviously you're following this complete asshole around, like, and there's, like, it switches back 5 years and goes forward, and there's, like, people, like, inceptioning each other, and, like, honestly, it's way confusing to explain, but, like, go and read it, because dickhead main characters, necromancy, Vikings.
What more could you want?
Exactly. So the next book that I read this month is one that I was going to read for the Bilingual Bibliothon but didn't end up reading, but I did promise you guys that I'd still be reading it, so I did. And that is Fairest by Marissa Meyer. Now this is Queen Levana's story. It is a prequel to the Lunar Chronicles, and yeah, I really liked it. I mean, Levana's a super creep though.
She's absolutely batshit crazy.
Like, proper mental. Like, I mean, we know this. Anyone who's read the Lunar Chronicles knows that she's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But, like getting this from her point of view as a child, and everything that she does to Everett is just the worst. Like, you're the worst, Levana, you... Just nasty. just nasty bitch. And like, if it gives really good context though, to be fair. Like, I didn't like love this book, but it's like a nice little novella to just like have that information and to have that context of how much of a crazy bitch she is.
I think that's why I liked it.
Yeah.
Like, just knowing where she's coming from, basically, and like why she is how she is.
Yeah, definitely. So the next book that I listened to was Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. Now, Brandon Sanderson, king of world building and fantasy worlds. Praise be to the Sanderson god. He creates this amazing world where there's like people use like colours as magic and like breaths and like trying to explain it is way too complicated because Brandon Sanderson does this huge like introduction and like development of the magic system in it. So he plays around with politics so well in this book. Like, it is basically the story that follows two princesses, and like one of them is supposed to be like, there's a treaty and one of them is supposed to be marrying the God King, who's like a returned guy, which basically means that he died and was brought back to life by the power of breath. And then something happens and then the other sister ends up being sent to marry the God King. So both of them go on journeys that they weren't expecting to be going on, and they develop so much throughout the story, and it's like top-notch character development. People go from one place to another. There's political intrigue coming out of the wazoo. It's just great. It's just great. Great book. The last book that I read this month, yes, we are finally on the last book. It was called The Fourth Monkey by J.D. Barker, who I think is actually Jeffrey Deaver, and that's just like a pen name, so... but it's basically like Seven, you know, the film Seven, you know, what's in the box and all that. You haven't seen Seven, have you?
No.
Which is like shameful, and I'm going to make you watch it. Definitely. I mean, it's just an awesome movie. So it's a serial killer-y thing. Anyway, but it's like a cross between Seven and The Silence of the Lambs is what it says on the back of the book, but like, I mean, it's kind of rubbish. Like it started off really good, and then it went into this weird section where basically rats were like eating everyone. Like there was just like eating everyone, like their eyes and their tongues and like inside their stomachs, and they did that weird torture thing, like a bowl on like from the stomach, and then they're like the rat is gonna eat its way out of your stomach, and I'm there like, dear God, why? So many rats. I mean, I like rats, but like there was like an overload of rats eating people, and I didn't like it. But then when the rats had stopped eating people and they finally moved on, and I started to feel a bit less sick, it just took a weird turn, and there was like a diary from the form of the kid murderer, and he like was weird and like fancied his older neighbour, and like it was like a weird end to the book, and I didn't like it, and I was like, well, it could have been good, but then it wasn't. So
that was it for Kat's gigantic wrap-up and my minuscule tiny wrap-up. However, I did enjoy all the books I read this month.
I can't say the same
No.
thing.
I feel like this is a trend. You read loads, but it's like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, no, I really enjoyed them.
Maybe I should learn from you. Read fewer books. Well, actually, that is the plan, though. I am going to be only reading books next month, with the exception of one book. I'm only going to be reading books that are over 400 pages long, because I got some massive books on these shelves, and it's about time that I read them.
And you said read them and not audiobook them.
Yeah, but the audiobooks are probably going to be over that as well. Yeah. But like, all the ones that I'm physically reading will be over 400 pages. So
at least it means you get through like the bookshelf. You've got a few plans, haven't you?
Yeah. Excited. Actually, quite a lot of them are rereads, but still stuff that I wanted to reread this year. Yeah. So anyway.
We hope you enjoyed this video, and let us know what you read in a month, if you read as many books as Kat.
If you like this video, then please leave a like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you later.
Bye.